Welcome back to the OKC Foodcast. You are joined once again by your hosts, Nabil
and Ashley.
And we have brought in another culinary mastermind into the studio.
Yeah, super excited about this. Welcome, Chef Shelby Sieg with the Pritchard.
You. Hi.
Say that fast 10 times.
Chef Shelby Sieg. Chef Shelby. Oh. No, can't do it.
That's why I didn't even try.
We'll just say Chef Shelby. How about that?
Sounds good.
Yeah. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on. So Shelby is the mastermind behind the Pritchard located in the Plaza District.
Yes.
So we're going to dive all up in that here in a minute. Let's first chat about our favorite things we ate this week. You want to go first, Nabil?
Favorite things we ate this week. Why am I first? I think the favorite thing I ate this week was Cafe Cuvée.
Oh, yeah.
That is someplace that I've been meaning to go for a while and finally got the chance, and it was delicious.
I loved it whenever I went.
It was so good. We start with some appetizers. I got the poutine.
Yes.
And I was just in Montreal, so I just had poutine. Mm-hmm. And they didn't use cheese curds, but it was still fantastic. The gravy was so good.
Yeah.
I think they could use a little more gravy because poutine fries are supposed to be a little soggy.
Right.
Was it like dark style gravy?
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a dark gravy. I think the soggy fries are like the best part of poutine. Mm-hmm. So it missed a little of that because it wasn't just sopping in gravy. But obviously they're trying to present it a little better.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I got the pecan crusted salmon with wild rice, quinoa, and asparagus at the bottom.
Oh, yum.
And like a lemon beurre blanc, I want to say.
Ooh.
I forgot exactly what it was, but I
Right.
think it was a lemon beurre blanc or a citrus beurre blanc.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was delicious.
That sounds awesome.
Really
Delicious.
good. I really like the look of that space. It feels very French.
And French. I love that they have the little traveler's French on every table. Yeah, so you can sit there and then go through these little flashcards.
That's really cool.
It is really cool. It's like a fun little table game.
Yeah. Next time I go there, I'm going to try ordering in French with the cards.
I'll order in French.
You can order in French.
I'll take the French fries.
Close enough, right?
Oh, you want to go next, Shelby? What was your eat of the week?
My eat of the week, I actually ran over to the press when I was at work and just had a quick lunch with a friend. And I know this sounds boring, but it was incredible. I had this amazing salad. It was like arugula and this grilled pork belly that was insanely flavorful. And it had like blueberries in it and some... what else is in it? It was like a balsamic vinaigrette, which I typically don't care for that much, but it was really, really lightly dressed. But man, that pork belly was insanely flavorful. I loved the way that they did that salad.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great.
Sounds really good. Yeah. I love the press. I took my staff there for a staff outing, and great. You know how we talk about bringing lots of people to a place so you get to try multiple things. Yeah, bring your entire staff, and I'm like, woo, there's lots I can try.
I need to create like a group of people that be like, I'm going here, who wants to come?
Yeah.
Well, it has to be like intentional with, because it's like, you know, the Southern style comfort food. So everything is like a lot. But yeah, I mean, I've had some good meals there.
Yeah, I have too. Their fried chicken, their Indian taco, like they have a lot of good stuff on their menu.
I have not tried them yet.
No, you've got to. I've been a few times. I really like it.
There have been a couple of times that have been close, but I couldn't make it.
Just never happened.
Well, and I was surprised at how big the menu is. I went for lunch, but they were offering the full brunch menu and the full lunch menu all at the same time.
Wow.
So that's pretty impressive as far as logistically.
I was going to say that's probably a nightmare for the kitchen.
I was sitting there sweating thinking about it. So
absolutely. Well, my eat of the week. So I kind of have two this week. So the first one,
cheating.
It's not cheating.
It's called eat.
And you'll understand why. The first one, I went to the new location that just opened, the Catch in Moore. So they have another location in Oklahoma City, which I had not gone to yet, but I went to their new location in Moore. They had just opened like a few days before.
Probably packed.
Completely packed, like line out the door. So we get there and there's a big group of us. So I'm already like, man, this is not going to be cool. There's a big group of us. The line is out the door. They're brand new. So you just kind of anticipate issues, right?
Right.
I mean, to be honest.
Yeah, they just opened.
Yeah. And you're willing to forgive for those issues.
Right.
But I have to tell you, no issues. Everything came out piping hot, quick. And I got the crawfish. So I have a true passion for Cajun food.
Okay.
And I have yet to have crawfish in Oklahoma that I really enjoyed. This was probably the best catfish I've had in Oklahoma. I'm not going to say it's the best out of Louisiana and Houston.
Right.
Not quite as spicy as I would like it, but the manager came around. Like the manager was just every table. He was touching every table, talking to everyone. While we were waiting for our food, which again did not take long, he brought a live crawfish out to show my nephews that I was there with.
That's very cool.
And so he was very interactive. The crawfish, like I said, wasn't quite as spicy for my taste, and I got the spiciest. So he brought out an extra little dish of Cajun seasoning and spiciness.
Nice. That's always a must.
Yeah. And the whole experience was great, like really, really good. So I highly recommend The Catch and more. And I imagine since they also own or operate the one in Oklahoma City, it's probably just as great. So that's The Catch. The other one I want to mention is Kwan's Kitchen. I had incredible dim sum at Kwan's Kitchen for brunch. And just learned, sadly, that they have closed their doors.
I know. I'm so sad.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to go there. It just sounds so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever anyone talks about it, they always had good things to say.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm sad I never got to go either.
Yeah. And I wanted to go for their dinner. And funny, whenever I did go, I think it was Eric from Scotty's Deli. He had actually gone that same day and was like, you should have stopped by.
Yeah.
I didn't see him, but the food was so good. The service was great. So really, really sad.
I wonder what it was. Maybe they'll reopen.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah. And their little koi pond that's like in the ground in their foyer entry. It's so cool. Like the whole place. I had nothing bad to say about it except just really sad that they're gone now.
Yeah, It's kind of sad. I'll never get to try it.
Yeah, unless they, maybe do some other concept or another location.
Maybe.
Yeah. So that's our Eat of the Week.
Well, way to bring us down,
I
Ashley.
know. I should have started with that and ended with The Catch. Sorry, guys. But let's bring it back up, bring the mood back up, and dig into the Pritchard with Shelby.
Let's do it. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, cool. So, Nabil, you want to start us off with some questions?
Don't want to start. Why am I starting today?
I can start.
Okay, so Chef Shelby Sieg. Mm-hmm. Hey, I didn't stumble.
Shelby Sieg.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let's start off by just tell us a little about you, where you're from, and
Well, my dad was in the Air Force growing up, so I moved every 2-ish years, and we kind of were all over the place, all over the country, and even in Asia for a little bit. But my parents met at OU, and my parents, both of their families were here, and so we would always come back for holidays, and I grew up going to like OU football games all over the place,
Right.
and so Oklahoma was always kind of very connected to my family. And so I graduated high school in Ohio and moved right down here to go to OU. And was just shy of my undergrad political science, pre-law, headed to law school, and I shattered my dad's heart and left and went to culinary school instead.
Wow, what a change.
that's quite a turn.
Yeah.
180. And yeah, I decided to go to culinary school. And so off I went to Scottsdale, Arizona. And I got my associate's degree in patisserie and baking. So my background is pastry.
Okay.
And that's what I've done for a lot of my career is pastry. Mm-hmm. And have kind of been all over the place. I was in Dallas. I was in New York. Was internationally for just a little while. And then came back to really spend some time with my family and ended up just staying.
Yeah.
So I've been here 5-6 years now.
Do you know what that turning point was when you decided not to do law and to go complete 180? Do you know that moment?
Well, I think you just kind of get at, whatever I was, 21, 22, and you just get really bogged down in the school part of things and really, do I want to do another 3 years of law school? And can I see myself actually doing that and spending all this money on school? And so my best friend at the time, who was all steam, for her career, and she was in journalism, had gone to London and done an internship for BBC, so she was fully knew what she wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I just had no idea what was going on.
Aren't you jealous of those people?
Oh my gosh.
I'm usually what am I going to do? And there's other people that are just this is exactly what I'm going to do.
And they've got it planned out forever and on that path.
I don't know who has it better. I
don't know. Yeah, maybe there's a little more freedom in this way, but I'm not sure. But yeah, so she sat me down and she was like, first thing off the top of your head, if you could do anything, what would it be? And I just said pastry chef, and then I surprised myself because I didn't know where that came from.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I grew up cooking with my mom and, hosting all these crazy dinner parties for my dad and things like that. And so that was always a part of my family and a part of the background.
Yeah.
And so I just started researching culinary schools and off I went.
Cool.
That's a cool little journey.
Yeah. I like that a lot. Very, very cool. All right.
So you mentioned you did an international stint.
Mm-hmm.
What was that?
Well, I lived in Mexico for a little while, and cooked there, kind of randomly, but I have, been all over the place. Travel is one of my biggest passions. And so I've been, in different kitchens kind of all over the world, really. Most recently I was in Eastern Europe in the Republic of Georgia, kind of checking out some food there and checking out the culture and the wine really a lot as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's kind of one of my biggest things is just as much inspiration from world travels as I can get, and wine inspiration and knowledge.
Right. And so would you say some of those travels, you've brought back stuff to the Pritchard with some of the things you've learned and you want to kind of recreate something like that here in Oklahoma?
Yeah, definitely. Whether or not it's an exact dish, there's a lot of inspiration from flavors that I have. Sometimes it is an exact dish. We have something on the menu at the Pritchard called the Frico Friulano.
Yes, I had that.
And that is...
Oh my gosh, melt in your mouth.
And that is just peasant food from northeastern Italy, from a little region called Friuli. And it's Nona's been making it for 1,000 years. And it's like a potato, very specific cheese kind of mixture that you crisp up. And I put...
It's like a pancake.
Yeah.
I'm showing Nabil with my hand. It's like a
Because I haven't had this.
Yeah.
I haven't had this. I feel deprived.
Continue.
Yeah, no, it's it's basically just potato and cheese, and you make it like a potato pancake in a pan and crisp it. And then my version, I put some caramelized onions and some rosemary. And
Gotta
then
elevate that a little bit.
Yeah, and it gets crispy, and then I top it with at brunch I put a slow cooked egg, so it's got that runny yolk, and then sliced prosciutto on top of it.
Oh, it's so good. So good. Oh my gosh.
We should be doing this at the Pritchard.
Right? Yeah, can we move this equipment? So you would say your passion with food began cooking with your mom.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
So is she a really adventurous cook, or is she a Southern?
Oh, she was, I guess, adventurous because she took inspiration from, where we had lived as well. We lived in South Korea for 2.5 years, I guess. I was really, really young, so I don't remember a lot of it. But I grew up making bulgogi and things like that.
That's cool.
Just because it's what we had learned when we lived there. And so, there was a lot of that growing up and just international cuisine of places that my parents had traveled. So I think that's probably where I get a lot of it. My mom lived in Costa Rica when she was in high school. She was an exchange student, and so spoke fluent Spanish and was an ESL teacher. So there was a lot of that influence as well growing up.
That's awesome.
Very international. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not kidding. That's all parts of the world.
So
just
to have that kind of childhood.
Yeah. Well, and just, my mom from a tiny little town in Oklahoma and was never exposed to anything until she was an adult.
And then get to see the world and
Right.
learn the different cultures and cook the different food. Sounds like a dream.
Yeah, and I think that's such an invaluable experience when it comes to food. It's like you can talk about an ingredient and you can look at it and you can think about it, but unless you actually go and taste it and experience it,
Right.
you have no idea what it is.
Right. Yeah. Well, and even tasting, I mean, you can order something, a spice or buy a spice or something like that, and even just tasting it. But if you're not really like having somebody show you how it's supposed to be used or seeing, how, like I said, the grandmothers and the, everybody kind of around the table making it.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like a local spice at a local place tastes different than what you might get in the store here.
Right.
That's true. Yeah.
So until you know what difference to look for and be like, okay, how can I overcome that? Or can I find can I source my ingredients from somewhere better?
Exactly.
I think that experience can't come anywhere else.
Right. For sure. So the Pritchard opened back in 2016?
Yeah, in October of 2016.
Okay. And you started with them?
Yes.
From the beginning?
Yes.
Created the first menu?
Yes.
Yeah.
The first menu.
Yeah.
The first menu.
I mean, and
there have been many.
It's probably changed over the years quite a bit, right?
I changed it quite a bit. As far as like any major changes, we kind of went from all small plates to a few larger plates, just entree style. We still have the small plates, but we're trying to kind of get people a little bit more used to that style.
Yeah, I feel like Oklahomans really aren't used to tapas,
It took
small
us
plates
a little,
type thing.
Yeah, it took us
That's
a
the
minute to
best
find
way
our
to do
little, our little a crowd, of people that were kind of familiar with that. But easing that back in the entrees and things like that made it easier. We're now going to be trending back towards some more of the small plates, just now that we've got that kind of like, everyone's on board and this is how we do this. So we're going to trend more toward that. But as far as menu changes, I try to change 1 to 2 things about every, 5-6 weeks. There's nothing like jarring, like a full scale menu change.
Right.
But that way it keeps things fresh and seasonal. It keeps things interesting for our guests, for our cooks, back there making it. Keeps things creative as well.
Yeah.
Is there something on the menu that has stuck through the years?
A couple of things. The scallops for one. And both of these things, the scallops and the Brussels sprouts, both have been there from the beginning.
Oh, man.
Both of these things are actually things that I cooked for Amy Apatone and Steve Mason, who are the 2 owners at the Pritchard. When I first met them, I went over to Steve's house and cooked like a market basket, and this is what I can do. And, there's, I don't know what, I made 7 or 8 things, I think, of things that, I would like these things to be on the menu, or this is what I envision, or that kind of thing when we first talked about small plates. So a couple of those things made it to the menu, and the scallops and the Brussels were both still on the menu.
I haven't had the scallops. I do love scallops, but those Brussels sprouts, oh my gosh. What all do you put in those Brussels sprouts?
Well, we just cut them in half essentially and then sear them, like a really, really hard sear on that cut side. And then they get cooked with a Spanish chorizo. So it's like a Spanish chorizo is more like a cured salami than like the crumbly kind of ground meat style that we're used to seeing in Mexican chorizo. And then just a bit of champagne vinegar, some olive oil, and just get sauteed that way.
They are
Just like, it's just so simple.
so simple. They're like crack, I swear. Like you can't just have one. Like, oh my gosh, they're really, really good.
Thank you.
So do you locally source a lot of your items?
I try to. I work with a company called Marketplace Produce, and they work with some local farmers. So that way I'm not kind of running around to a bunch of different places. At the end of the day, for me, the thing is kind of getting the best product available.
Right.
I really prefer that to be local, but I'm not going to kind of sacrifice that quality.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, with our weather, we can't always get access to things or that. So I try to keep things pretty seasonal. But the nature of the restaurant, I can't keep it hyper seasonal and changing, every week, that kind of thing. But I really try to support as many kind of local farmers as I can through Marketplace, and then a couple of other things that we do.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So there were 2 things that are on your menu that have stuck throughout.
Yeah.
Are there particular favorites that you can kind of pinpoint that people order the most, and that if someone hasn't been there, they should get this? 2-part question.
Something I think I'm really kind of obsessed with now and have been is the mussels. So we have really great Prince Edward Island mussels on the menu with, it's like a white wine cilantro broth with lemongrass and kaffir lime, Fresno chilies, it's mounted with a little bit of butter, and then we put some bread with it to kind of sop all that up.
Nice.
But
That's the best part.
Yeah.
That's become a big favorite. Those are huge sellers. And yeah, we can track it. It kind of changes pretty seasonally though. When it's colder out, everybody's getting the lobster bisque. Like almost every table is getting it. And now that it's warmer, people are getting lighter things like those mussels.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm an anomaly in that sense. Like I'll get soup wherever
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
bisque. Like I'll be like, I love it. I'm gonna have it, and then I'll be like kind of sweating. I'll be like,
Right.
oh, it's hot.
Sitting on the patio eating a
But,
big bowl of lobster bisque.
But I had to do it.
I do like soup all year round. I
Yeah.
really do.
It's like, whenever I go, I see soup, I'm like, I'm gonna try that, and then I'll
Although-
judge you on your soup.
Right. Although I do prefer to sit indoors with the nice, cool air conditioning
Right.
while I'm eating that soup in 90-degree weather
Yeah.
outside. For sure.
At least it's only 90.
Right. Right.
Well, for now.
For now, and
not jinx it. Don't jinx it.
we've barely even touched 90 this year. Like
Yeah,
we've gotten
which is so nice.
such a nice, cool
I will
summer.
never,
but
I will
hang
never
on.
complain about that.
Just hang on to everything because with all the rain, I feel like when it gets 90 or 95, that humidity is going to be nuts.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's no joke.
Pessimist.
I know, I am.
Also with having so much rain, both of my parents they have big gardens, and this rain has not done us any favors.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, my gosh.
In terms of that.
Like my dad was saying, he's had to replant his okra like 4 or 5 times. He's had to dig up some potatoes that were just waterlogged.
It's so terrible. If you
Yeah.
think about too, the people that are doing that as a hobby, and that's awful, but the people that are doing that as their livelihood, it's just
absolutely.
heartbreaking.
It is. I mean, this wet season has
Been
really, really wet. Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, we're in the city here. People like out east,
Yeah.
they're feeling it even more.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure. So back to the Pritchard.
Small little tangent.
So the Pritchard has a fantastic wine and cocktail selection.
Thank you.
Yes.
She's like, thank you.
So do you curate all that?
So about 7 months ago, 6-7 months ago, something like that, I took over the GM role as well as the executive chef role. And so my AGM, Stefan, and I do the wine selection together. We taste through things, make decisions on the wine list. So that's been our baby for about the last 7 months. We've really kind of stripped that down and rebuilt it kind of in a way that we were really excited about and have had a lot of fun doing. And then the cocktail
bet it's
list.
wine.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so fun. But I just love studying wine too. There's so much to it, and there's so much nuance and geography and travel associated with
Absolutely.
it that I love. The cocktail list is really, really cool. We let our bartenders do the cocktail list. So we change it every 3 months. So we get our bar meeting together where all of our bartenders and any servers that want to submit anything can do. And we taste everything that they've been working on, whatever base spirits or crazy flavors. We try to kind of refine those. And then we just take a vote on the 5 or 6 cocktails that win
that.
out.
Cool.
They make it on the menu, and then their names go on the menu as well, whatever the server or
That's really
bartender.
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I
So
like
that way
that.
it's like a group
group
effort.
effort.
Yeah.
And it encourages creativity and kind of pushing and keeping, them learning.
Right.
It gives them some ownership and like
Yes.
some pride to be like, hey, I did this.
For sure.
Well, and they could walk up to a table and be like, you want to try this drink? Because I made it.
Yeah. And there are some very, very unique flavored cocktails. Like I had the flaming carrot.
Flaming carrot.
Yeah, there. So correct me if I'm wrong. It's a orange and habanero infused vodka.
It is, yeah.
Nailed it. With there's some pineapple in there. And
It's like her
some
test.
carrot juice.
Some carrot juice, yeah.
And then it's got a mango spicy rim.
Yeah, it's like a mango chili salt that we
Chili
went
salt.
with. That's on our brunch
that
menu.
was all by memory.
That's
Well done.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Well
really
done.
enjoyed
That's
that
awesome.
drink.
Apparently.
Yeah, really, really good. But I think a lot of the cocktails are very, very unique. I like that.
Yeah, we try to kind of push the boundaries as much as we can. You know, I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable when they come in there and not know what anything is.
Right.
But at the same time, I want it to be unique and using ingredients that you're not just seeing, you know, the same kinds of drinks all over town.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, 'cause, I mean, craft cocktails, as we've said before, is kind of a buzzword right now.
Yeah.
But I think you guys keep it fresh for sure and
Yeah.
really
We
unique.
try
And I think
very
that's really
hard.
cool with different people doing it because, you know, people have styles.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so this just gives you like the whole other gamut of people submitting.
Well, and it kind of curates that talent too, because when else, you know, are people going to get the opportunity to actually be able to be creative? Because all of a sudden you're hiring somebody for, you know, a bar program or a beverage manager job or something like that, and they've just never come up with any cocktails and they don't know what they're doing. So this is
Right.
kind of a good entry for them into that and really
Yeah.
building talent.
And you and probably the head bartender probably give them feedback and be like,
Absolutely.
hey, you know, you could have done this, that. So that's really cool.
Right. And we work a lot on it kind of as they're coming up with the cocktail too,
Yeah.
and different
Yeah.
techniques. And that's the cool thing too. I'm like, hey, if you get in the kitchen, we can say, you know, do it this way. You're going to get more flavor out of it because, you know, that's our forte and
Right,
things like
right.
that. So it's really collaborative.
That's
Yeah.
really cool.
I like that. So you also have something really, really cool coming up. I guess it's going to be this weekend when this releases. The Art of Brunch.
Yes.
So tell us about this. It is at Campbell Art Park.
Campbell
right?
Art Park. Right kind of in the shadow of the building that Oklahoma Contemporary is building.
Okay.
All of the proceeds are going toward building the new gallery space that they have at Oklahoma Contemporary.
So cool.
It's beautiful. I've seen just kind of the plans for it and this like massive balcony. I'm telling you now, it is going to be the place to get married. It is going to be insanely beautiful. But yeah, so that'll be on Saturday. Starts at 10 o'clock and might be some tickets still available.
I think there might be. It's you can find them at oklahomacontemporary.org /special-events. I'm sure if you just go to oklahomacontemporary.org, you can find those if they're still available.
Yeah. Or Google Art of the Brunch or find it on Facebook.
Yeah.
I think they have a pretty active
Yeah.
page
Yeah.
there. And that's
but
on
it does-
Saturday, June 22nd.
Yes. And I imagine it's going to sell out.
It did last year.
Yeah.
Last year was my first time doing that event, and there were, I mean, maybe I think 400 people there last year.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And there's, you know, only 5 restaurants really represented. But it's $75 a ticket, and there's, you know, a bunch of different cool drinks and different food. There's fun activities. The whole space that they do
beautiful
is beautiful.
space.
That's cool.
Yeah. And it's just different from any event. I do a lot of these, you know, different fundraising events and everything. And I feel like this one really, really is different because it's more interactive. It's a daytime kind of brunch event. It's, you know, everybody dressing up in kind of this garden party,
Yes,
you know,
I
vibe.
love that. I
and
love that
everybody's
so
just
much.
beautiful. So yeah, I love this event.
Cool. Wow.
Hopefully we'll be able to make it to that.
Yeah.
I know I'm kind of busy that weekend.
Yeah.
But maybe
Been kind of on the fence about that.
I really want to go. It sounds really cool.
Yeah. And we're also supposed to go to Uncroot that weekend too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So busy weekend.
Lots going on.
So do you have any plans as of right now beyond the Pritchard or expanding with the Pritchard? Anything that Oklahomans can expect to see new?
I don't have any plans for any new concepts or anything. I think, you know, just kind of staying with the Pritchard and really kind of expanding that menu and keeping things fresh there. And just really, you know, investing in the Plaza District. I know there's a lot going on there right now.
That district
Yeah.
is booming.
It is. It's insane.
I really, really love that district. Every time I go to that area, I always feel like it feels like home to me. Like I like the quirky vibe,
Yeah.
the arty
Feels
vibe.
like home to me.
It really does.
That's awesome.
Okay, here's the comparison. If I go to Chisholm Creek, I think it's beautiful. I love it. but I feel like a guest there.
No, that makes sense.
When I go to the Plaza District, it feels like home.
It feels like home. Okay.
Yeah.
Just a bit more of a relaxed vibe.
Yeah, for sure.
Laid back.
For sure.
But still, you can get great food.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. You want to do the kitchen sink?
Always. This is the best part of the episode.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Chef Shelby Sieg. I'm like challenging myself. First question. What is one ingredient that you're obsessed with?
Obsessed with right now I'm obsessed with rhubarb.
Yeah.
It's the very end of the season, so I'm kind of having to move on from it, but
Isn't that hard?
it's so hard because it's only available like 2 months out of the year, so I have to just use it as much as I can. But I love using it in a bunch of different applications. We even made a house-made rhubarb limoncello for one of our cocktails for the spring menu.
Nice.
I have a rhubarb elderflower jam because I do a seasonal jam
Nice.
that I change all the time, and so that's my jam right now.
Is that
Literally?
Yeah,
That's
literally.
my
That's
jam
your
right
jam.
Yeah,
Is that the jam that you that I had that was with the biscuit?
with the biscuit. Yeah, at
that
brunch we
jam.
serve it, and then with one of our cheeses at dinner we serve it as well.
I didn't know
Sounds so
what
good.
that jam was, but it's also my jam.
How long is this jam there?
I will have it probably about another month.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It gives me some time.
Yeah, you have to get in and try it.
for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. What is something strange that you don't like, but most people do like, food-wise?
I really generally don't like balsamic vinegar.
Really?
Which I know that is weird. I know.
I love it. A lot of people are obsessed with it.
Oh, a lot of people.
I like it in like moderation.
Yeah, but that's my thing. I think it gets overused, and it gets used like on everything,
Yeah.
like drizzles and vinaigrettes and whatever,
And reductions
and
Yeah.
I
the
feel
other
like
thing
I'm
is,
that person. What we have here is so far from what it really is.
Yeah.
Because it's from Modena, from Italy, from northeast
Right.
Italy, and it's like very, very different flavor if you have like the real thing and then come here and get it in the grocery store. And I don't know, it's just a very different flavor. And I feel like it gets
I
used
bet
a lot.
if you've had the real thing,
Yeah.
it's really hard to.
You're like, no thanks.
Yeah,
That also
to
sounds
settle.
incredibly snobby, and I don't at all mean it like that. It's just, it's one of those things.
It doesn't
kind
sound
of everywhere.
snobby. It sounds
Yeah.
like you've had it the best way you could possibly have it.
And that's kind of what we talked about in the start was, you
Yeah.
know, getting the ingredient from one part of the world that
Exactly.
it's
So
from.
true. Yeah.
Exactly.
Completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as a chef, you know, you probably also cook at home. Mm-hmm. What do you like cooking at home?
My roommate would tell you he would laugh at that question because he would be like, "Shelby, cook at home? What?"
She doesn't cook it.
I don't.
Maybe not.
I don't really cook at home that much. When I do, it's comfort food. It's
Okay.
definitely things that I don't make for other people or like out at the restaurant. But I'll do things like a big pot of like French onion soup or things that my
good.
grandmother made or things that are fun things that I grew up eating that I kind of like to try to play around with or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's just usually kind of like one pot meals, like pretty easy because I'm not at home that much. So
Right.
you try to make it pretty easy when I'm at home.
And you need to relax when you're at home.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Comfort food.
Yeah.
For sure. What's your favorite snack food?
Oh, this is such a guilty pleasure, and I even almost hate saying it out loud. But since I was a kid, I have always loved eating Cheez-Its. It's just like the way it is.
Nothing wrong with Cheez-Its.
You know
Nothing
what?
wrong
You're
with
like the
Cheez-Its.
third guest, I believe, third or fourth, that Cheez-Its
It's
is
so funny.
Popped up on the list.
favorite snack food. Yeah.
I don't eat them very often, but that's like, especially like road trip food. Like if I'm
Yeah.
driving somewhere, I'm like, okay, we're stopping at the gas station. I've got to get some Cheez-Its.
You know what's so funny is I don't typically eat Cheez-Its, but because so many of our guests have been saying Cheez-Its is
Did
their
you start
number one
eating
snack
them?
food, I just bought a box like last
That's
night.
funny.
And I'm
So-
like,
so
I
Cheez-Its-
have to get on the Cheez-It bandwagon.
So Cheez-Its, if you're hearing this,
Yeah, send some. Send some to
Send
all
some
of
snacks,
us.
please.
send us some interesting flavors.
Yes.
Some balsamic Cheez-Its.
I just went with the original cheddar. I felt like
Those are my
let's-
jam. That's my
Let's
favorite.
ease into the Cheez-It world.
Yeah.
I like the jalapeno cheese mix ones.
Oh, I haven't had those. I'm going to have to check those out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So, you said you don't cook at home as much as you think. What do you like to go?
If I'm grabbing something for on the way home, easiest thing for me is usually like Chipotle. It's like fairly fresh. I can get a salad or I can get something a little bit heavier if I want to and kind of put whatever I want on it. And it's just easy and it's so consistent. Every single
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
it's the
That
same
is true.
thing. And I love that about it.
Yeah. I think it's a good go-to.
Yeah.
For sure. So since you've traveled so much around the world, can you pinpoint one spot that you've been to that has the most intriguing food culture to you?
Probably due to the recency bias, but I think probably the Republic of Georgia. And the reason I say that, I've been to some incredible places that have, really amazing food, and even some places that have some better food than Georgia. But I think that Georgian food is probably the most underrated because it's just not talked about that much.
Yeah.
And it's starting to be talked about. I'm seeing kind of on the coasts, some different Instagram things that people are doing, and some different Georgian wines that we're getting into the country now.
All right.
But it was incredible. And I kind of went with a little bit of trepidation of how out there is this going to be?
Right.
And am I going to be okay with eating everything? And I'm really just an adventurous eater. I'm not picky at all. But gosh, it was so great. And everybody would tell us before we went there, you'll never see a vegetable, so good luck to you. Because it's just meat and bread and cheese.
Right.
But there were some amazing restaurants that we went to that were vegetarian-based,
nice.
vegetable-forward restaurants that did some incredible food, just all vegetarian and some amazing flavors. Oh. We went to a couple of restaurants that when Anthony Bourdain was there, he had gone to, of some chefs that he was trying to promote that were just doing really fantastic job.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So usually when you go on these adventures, do you go solo or do you have a set group of people?
I have my very best friend, who's also a server at the Pritchard, and her husband, Zach, and I, the three of us, which people are always asking, is that weird, being the third wheel in the travel? And
I've been the third wheel. I mean, I'm the third wheel to Nabil and his wife, my best friend Mary and her husband. I'm always the third.
Well, my response usually is I'm not the third wheel. Ask Zach how he feels about it, because Casey and I are definitely. But no, I just think it's fun. The three of us get along really, really well. We travel the same way together.
Nice.
Yeah. We just Airbnb. Casey and I are obsessed with finding cheap flights, and that's how we kind of are able to go to a lot of these places.
Good. I need to learn your ways.
Oh, it's the best. It's so amazing.
Okay, we will chat about that later.
Off air. So you've been to a lot of places in the world.
Uh-huh.
What's next on your list?
I am at this really rare point where I don't have a trip booked right now,
really?
Which does not happen because I like to have things to look forward to.
Yeah.
But my next trip, I can just guarantee right now what I'm looking for is Croatia.
Okay.
Some of the most amazing beaches in the world. It's been a minute since I've been to a beach, but they also have a really incredible food and wine culture. So it's nice when you can mix that kind of beach locale with food and wine as well.
Yeah.
Get some relaxation in, but still
Exactly.
some fantastic food and explore. Yeah.
Do you do what we do and do a lot of research before you go to figure out what places you are definitely stopping at?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To eat.
You plan around food.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Everything is. And there's a lot of that of what cities are we going to go to and what restaurants we can't miss and things like that. And there's also, because we usually just we'll rent a car and stay kind of off the beaten path, and we're not tourist travelers.
Right.
So there's also a lot of me driving and Casey sitting next to me on her phone going okay, the locals are saying stop, turn right here, turn right here.
Oh,
Yeah. It's so we kind of get lost intentionally sometimes and
That's
find
cool.
some crazy places.
There've been a couple times where Serena and I, when we're traveling, they're like, they're like, where are you from? We're like, from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And they're like, how'd you find this place? Because no one usually comes here except for the locals.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
That's what
we were searching
Throw your
for.
hands up, winning.
Yes.
Yeah.
we did it.
For sure. So last question for you, Shelby. This is a tough one. Besides the Pritchard, what is your favorite restaurant in Oklahoma City? Or if someone's visiting you, maybe this is a two-parter, either your favorite restaurant in Oklahoma City, and if you have someone visiting that doesn't live here, what are some places that you love or that you would take a visitor?
My favorite restaurant is Patrono.
Okay.
I love their food. I think Jonathan Krell is their chef, and he is fantastic. And his flavors are so well executed. Everything always just makes sense. It's very flavorful food, and it's always just really, really fresh. He keeps the menu very interesting. And it's just always a really nice place to go and have a good meal.
Cool. Cool. So that's
I've heard
where
fantastic things about that.
I haven't
Yeah.
been.
Me
Oh, you
neither.
definitely have to go check it out.
There's so many places
great.
on that I was
I
like, oh,
know.
I need to go there.
I know.
Yes, I remember.
And
I
they're
need to go
opening
there.
at such a rapid
Yeah.
clip that
They
it's hard.
are,
Yeah.
yeah. So is that also the place that you would take someone visiting to kind of show them?
Yeah,
something good in
definitely.
Oklahoma?
That and I always find fun things like when people are visiting, like go to the Pump or go to like Pony
Yeah.
Boy or like
Yeah.
fun kind of bars like that
Right.
are like the local scene. Because whenever I'm traveling, I like to hit up some local kind of cool bars and social spots and things like that as
sure.
well. But yeah, probably Patrono is definitely like my biggest recommendation that I give to people.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, I will take that
Yeah,
recommendation.
definitely.
We're going to go. They do a lot of special events too.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Very
So
cool.
I've been researching them for a while. Been stalking them.
Well, thank you again so much, Shelby, for coming on today.
Thank you
really
for having
appreciate
me.
it.
Yeah.
And so the Pritchard does brunch Saturdays and Sundays?
Yes, Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 3. And then we do our dinner menu starts at 3.
Okay.
And during the week, we do lunch from 11 to 3, Monday through Friday.
All right, cool. So definitely check out the Pritchard.
For sure.
Will not be disappointed.
Anything else you want
good.
to say that you might have missed out on?
No, thank you for having me. This is so much fun.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
So before we sign off, we wanted to give a quick shout out to Woodshed Tea and Coffee for inviting us to their space, and they just launched Cheese Tea.
Yes, the cheese tea was fantastic. So it's matcha tea. And then there's like this frothy, creamy
Cream cheese.
cream cheese that they put on top. I know you would think cheese and tea together sound like an odd pairing. So good,
Yeah.
right?
So matcha tea, they use oat milk.
Okay, yeah.
And this cream cheese has been whipped, and then they add a couple of things that they wouldn't tell me. I tried. I was like, so what do you put in it? He's like, can't. It's cream
Trade
cheese.
secret.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
It's like, all I
secret.
can tell you, it's whipped. So it makes it really light and frothy.
Yeah.
And you mix that in with your tea, and man, that tastes so good.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, and then there was also like the ruby herbal tea.
Yeah, ruby hibiscus herbal tea.
Yeah.
And it's got the natural sweetener in it with the stevia leaves, and same cream cheese topping. They call it a cream cheese topping, so you can
Yeah.
get that with other things if you want it as well. But
I feel like it'd also be good on coffee.
Oh, that would be good.
ooh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
that'd be an
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Might have to try that next
And
time.
you know, I thought the ruby hibiscus, to me, it kind of tasted like passion fruit tea.
Yeah, it had a
very,
very
very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, thank you, Woodshed. That was delicious.
Yeah, they just introduced this tea on June 5th, so it's fairly new. They said people like it. They say it's split between who likes the hibiscus and who
Yeah.
likes the matcha.
Oh, and if you listen to our episode really early on, what was going to be the hot trends of 2019,
This was one of them.
you heard it here first.
That's right.
We mentioned cheese tea.
That's why we were extra excited when Woodshed was like, hey,
Come
we got
give it a
cheese
try.
tea.
Yeah.
Come give it a try.
We're like,
So
what?
that was fantastic. So thanks
Really
again
cool.
for inviting us. And be sure to show them some love, woodshedtea.com. They are right there on Grand and May, next to Blue 7. So if you want
And
to go
it was
try
a
this
little
tea.
tricky to find. They don't have a big sign outside
They're
yet.
getting it.
Okay.
Yeah.
They didn't whenever I went. So you have, it's like there's a wood grain decal on
Yeah.
their door. Like I drove around for a hot minute before I found it. So just a heads up.
Yeah, Logan over there was telling me, they're like, we're super excited about our sign. They said we waited to do it right.
Cool.
So
that's awesome.
we'll see how it looks.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Shelby, for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
For sure. We really enjoyed chatting with you.
That's right. So where can people follow the Pritchard?
We are at the Pritchard OKC on Facebook, on Instagram, and Twitter. And we always we post pretty frequently, so everybody can kind of see what we're doing and features and stuff.
Awesome.
Very
So
cool.
follow them on all three.
Yes,
Yeah,
please
for
do.
sure. For sure.
And while you're at it, follow us.
On OKC Foodcast on Instagram and Facebook. And if you'd like to send in some listener feedback or if you'd like to collaborate with us, feel free to email us at okcfoodcast@gmail.com.
And as always, share this podcast with a fellow food lover and expand the culinary horizons of Oklahoma.
Nice.
Thanks.
And until next time, eat well and be happy. Bye.